So, good evening and a warm welcome from FACEMI Shanti Dilli to all in this webinar on siblings and PMIs. Today, we are here to discuss the beautiful relationship of brothers and sisters with the persons with mental illness, brothers and sisters in the families. So, before starting, I would like to introduce FACEMI. FACEMI, that is Families Alliance on Mental Illness, was founded by Dr. Nirmala Srinivasan from Bangalore. It is the first advocacy group for mental illness in India, which advocates for the wellness of PMIs and their rights with both central and state governments. Guidance and latest rules and regulations are imparted to family members through our monthly webinars and vibrant WhatsApp groups. We are deeply rooted in the family ethos through an inclusive approach whereby we do not call family members as caregivers, but we call our loved ones as family carers. We call ourselves family carers rather. We presently have four zones, that is Maitri, Bangalore, Shanti Dilli in Delhi, Shakti in Kolkata, and FACEMI in Mumbai. And our contact details are displayed on the screen and we will share it in the chat too. So the contact details are shared on the screen, and a gentle reminder to all that this session will be recorded and it will be shared on the YouTube channel soon. Okay, so let's start with our webinar. So today's topic, siblings and PMIs, is relatable to many of us here. It is a very touching topic, and we will be touching upon the relationship and role of siblings, the brothers and sisters of the PMIs with the PMIs, and also other aspects of their important relationship in the family as a whole. To understand this better, we have here Ms. Mona Sharma as a speaker and presenter. And I would like to introduce Mona Sharma here. So, Mona Sharma is a public mental health professional and a cognitive behavior therapist. She is trained at Johns Hopkins School of Public Health USA in public mental health and Beck's Institute USA in therapy. Mona has more than 20 years of experience in diverse areas of mental health care. She is part of an active NGO, Manorathi Foundation. The vision of this organization is to promote mental health care as a universal right. This is done through affordable and accessible mental health services for the people having mental health problems. Community-based care and capacity building is the primary focus area of this organization. Now, I would like to invite Mona to take this session forward. Please come forward. Welcome, Mona. Welcome to this
session. Thank you so much, Ritu, and thank you so much for inviting me to talk on this topic, which is very important. I see it as very important, aspect of mental health care. So today, when I talk on this topic of siblings of people living with mental health conditions, I'm not going to refer to any academic, it's not going to be an academic exercise. It's going to be experiential exercise. I'm a public mental health professional, but before I became a public health professional, while I'm a public health professional, I'm also I'm also somebody who has been caring for people with mental health conditions in my family. So today when I talk, I would be using my experiences, referring to my experiences, of course, alongside sharing with you my learnings from my work with various families in communities. But the framework, the basis on which my experiences are based, one, it is professional, it is also experiential, it's also personal. So I'm now going to make it an academic exercise today. I'm not using any PPT. I told Ritu. When I talk about, so I just want to talk about, I'll start talking with my experiences, my professional experiences, how I have seen role of siblings evolving with time. Uh, Now, if you study, if you look at the research done on siblings, families, or people with mental health conditions, up till say 40 or 50 years ago, or probably even about 10 years ago, most studies, till about 10 years ago, even now, it continues. Uh, the focus was usually to study the role of siblings, the role of family members were studied to understand the illness better. So, for example, there were these twin studies. Like, if a person with schizophrenia, these twin studies, they studied the twins in which one twin had schizophrenia or any other mental health condition. It was substance use, schizophrenia, or any other chronic condition, and studying the studying the other twin to understand the illness better. No? Usually, all the studies that you look at, most studies, most evidence that you look at, they were studying siblings, but the focus was not on the mental health of the sibling. Yes, they were studying whether the illness is, what is the impact of the illness on the family, on the siblings, but not on the independent mental health of the siblings or role of the siblings. Okay? But if I look, I've been working in the field for 20 years. When I started working, even and when it came to meeting the families, usually my focus was on meeting the parents, working with with the parents. So even when we were doing family therapy for schizophrenia or for some other any other mental health condition, focus was working with the families. Usually, I remember very clearly with some families which have been associated with me since last 20 years. That initially, even during my family sessions, I was only meeting parents. We had support groups which were composed only of parents. I don't recall 20 years ago, I mean up to 15 years ago, these groups having siblings. They were never in, but I see that changing. I see more and more spouses coming for these support groups. I see siblings coming for support group. I see children coming for the support group. I see everyone, different members of the family gaining importance, having a say, having, talking about the impact. Also, therapists, mental health professionals pointing out the role. You know, a few years ago, I was talking to my mentor, and he said that, this changing landscape where siblings are, especially when siblings are being involved, where spouses are, coming up, whether it's for care, for advocacy, whatever. That is very significant. That's very important, and for obvious reasons, because obviously siblings or spouses or even children who are younger in age, who are perhaps more functional, can do much more when it comes to providing mental health care as well as when it comes to mental health advocacy. I'm not saying that parents can't, of course, parents have been doing, but this is the time that we need to, recognize the role of rest of the family members also. Now, I thought that, I could talk about, I thought I could, I was just before the session, I was just, trying to note down my experiences. What I think has been the role or of siblings, what the siblings have been. So I think it's, if I can, just say it in one statement, how siblings feel, and I'm again basing what I'm going to say in my experiences also, is usually of conflict. Conflict is constant conflict to start with. To be there for your sibling, and I'm saying that in context of say a severe mental health condition, which developed at a certain age, time in your life. So perhaps the sibling may have been a child or an adolescent when the other sibling was developing mental health condition. So there is this condition that I'm going to focus on. I mean the condition that developed later in life. So the person with mental health condition was not born with that condition. Okay, so I'm talking about that. So there is, when you see condition developing in your family, you see whether you're the younger sibling or older sibling, you see things changing in your family. What you go through is generally in the end when people come in, there's a conflict. There's a conflict between, to be there for the family, for the parents, for the sibling who's having mental health condition versus to have your own life, to have independence, to wish that things were not the way they are, to having a fear that will I also develop this mental health condition in the future, feeling resentment sometimes, especially if the family resources and family attention is going to the sibling with mental health condition, and later on feeling guilty for having that resentment. You know? And I see these feelings cycle going on and on and on. Feeling guilty and then again feeling resentment for having that guilt, which is again followed by guilt. Now the stigma and discrimination, if the family is facing discrimination, which I've experienced couple of times, which you experienced, which is a common experience. Then the sibling, of course, again there's a feeling of the same stigma. The stigma, of course, touches you also. Again, there is an anger. You are upset. You feel angry with people who are stigmatizing the sibling or your family. But you also feel that anger towards the sibling because you think that you are going through it because of the sibling who has mental health condition. And again, sometimes, but you also see that sibling not having a role, that, feeling angry with the world who's stigmatizing, feeling angry with the sibling due to whom you have to experience this stigma, or you have to, you have to experience, have these negative experiences, and then feeling upset with yourself for having these feelings. There are also feelings of not doing, and there are also siblings. A lot of times I see siblings now when I do family therapy, siblings are, there. So there are also siblings when, when you give them role. I've seen that, there was a time, like I said, 15 till about 15, 10 to 15 years ago, the siblings were not involved, they were not coming. Whether they didn't want to come, or as a mental health professional, you were not seeing their role as important, or the family was not seeing their role as important, whatever the reasons. But now when they come, they are involved. But lot of times, even when siblings want to be involved, there are siblings who are like, is it okay if you want to move away? Is it okay if I'm working in if I have to move to another place, is it okay? Does it mean I'm being selfish? And even some of them, when they move away for work or or whatever reasons, have I done the right thing? If I have moved on, am I the bad sibling? Am I doing enough? Can I do enough from where I am? So that guilt. There's this family that I've been working for more than 10 years. So brother has schizophrenia, his older brother, younger sister who's only 2 years younger than him. She's in UK now. But constantly there's this, for the last 7 years at least, since she moved there. I think every day every evening or so when the brother calls her, she says that, the first thought that comes to her mind is that, now every day, is he fine? Is there some emergency? Am I being a bad sibling by being so away from them? Should I come back? And there are times I've seen her coming, and couple of times we have discussed this. We have gone over, the solutions that are possible. Each time we agree that it's better for her to be where she is. She can better support the family. She's able to support her parents and the brother from there very well. But the guilt doesn't go away. Tells me that, Mona, even if someday something were to happen to my parents, even due to natural cause, naturally, I know I would not be able to live with the guilt that I was not there. Not only with her, I said this case because I've been associated with this family for a very long time, but in other cases also. I'm reminded of this family where parents passed away, and there were three siblings. The eldest brother had schizophrenia, and younger siblings, they all three lived in one household. The younger ones never got married. They always associated. The younger ones they were two sisters. They always associated that they are not moving on in life. They were not working. To the older sibling, that parents always only concentrated on. Due to him, we never got married. Due to him, we never could think about our career. That anger and resentment was there. But when it came to, and the brother, of course, he needed help. So when it came to help them, that about moving him in another facility, there was a lot of resistance. That no, we don't want that. We have lived with him all our life. We want him to be here. We know how to deal with it. We know who will take care of him as well as we can. So you see, in most families, there is a conflict. If you are away, you feel like you're being selfish. If you are with them, life becomes difficult. There is a need to be independent. There is a need to be, there is another need that, attention, parents' attention. Unintentionally or intentionally, obviously, more attention is going to the sibling who has, who is suffering more. So, and you are also expected to understand, even if you're the younger, especially when you're the younger sibling, or when if your sibling developed illness when you were a child or when you were an adolescent, parents also expecting you to be more understanding. So there are a lot of siblings that I work with, families that I work with, where siblings have talked about, never being a child. While I'm talking about the younger siblings, saying that though I was a younger one, but I always had to behave like an adult around my older sibling. I could never be the child. I grew up too fast, yes. This I hear a lot, that I grew up too fast. I don't remember ever any discussion happening in the family without, considering my sibling. He was always the center, as if I was never there. And after that, and along with this, another feeling comes, oh, I could achieve so much. There is also this sense of missed opportunity for self, but soon that is followed by host of missed opportunities for the sibling who has mental health condition. So, of course, I missed my childhood. I missed having, being treated as an equal to my sibling. But I also see that my sibling with mental health condition suffered much more. So feeling guilty for, talking about their suffering, that my suffering was still limited. I could still achieve I guess I could still achieve much more than where my sibling is. So feeling a sense of loss for self as well as for the sibling with mental health condition. Yeah. Uh, there are also families where siblings have talked about that, how having a sibling with mental health condition help them to look at it, also help them to look at the world in a more not with a more non-judgmental approach, to be more empathetic, to be more open-minded. And I see that in the last couple of years, as conversations around mental health have increased, people have become more open to talk about their mental health conditions. So there is also, siblings are also recognizing that how uh, experience with mental health within the family might have helped them to become more empathetic, to understand mental health better. So, yes, I think if I have to define the relationship, if there are conflicts, and if one feeling is true, that there are times when you feel angry, resentment, sense of loss, but the other one, opposite feelings, that you feel for the sibling who has mental health condition. No matter how angry or upset you feel, you still want to care. If you don't care, you don't want to live with the reality of not caring. You want to care. You don't want, if you don't care, you think you're too selfish. if you are away from the family, you are thinking for the family. The welfare, well-being of the family is there in your mind. Last point that I want to talk about is well-being of siblings. I always tell them to seek, uh, of course, one, they are a part of the family group, but also to seek support if there is any mental health impact. The mental health impact is not just due to the sharing the uh, genetic pool or biological, underpinnings of the illness, but also there might be mental health impact due to the experiences that you have. Like there's this study that was published. It was a systematic review that was published that talked about different all neurological psychiatric conditions and its impact on the family members, especially siblings. And it did say for across, of course, all uh, conditions, neurological or psychiatric conditions, there is an impact. There is a higher prevalence of depression, anxiety, or at least reduced sense of well-being in the siblings. It differs across conditions. For example, it is more if it is a condition like autism or which is there from birth. But there is it is impacted. The prevalence of depression, anxiety, and reduced sense of well-being is there in all siblings. With different rates, of course, different conditions, but it was there much more than what you would find in in normal families. So I think it's very important that we talk about siblings. It's time that we talk, especially have separately we talk about siblings and their well-being. Thank you, Ritu. That's all I wanted to start with. So now, if there are any questions, any comments from the group?
Yeah, so thank you, Mona. That was quite insightful. And to sum it all, I feel that during this journey with the siblings, brothers and sisters together with PMIs, the main feelings that the brothers sisters go through is like neglect. That's what I've summed up from your talk: neglect, guilt, anxiety, anger, and lastly sometimes abandonment. And then comes the question of responsibility when they grow up. There is a time when the parents get old and the siblings, it's their time to take over. So that is the time where they really need to be strong, even after going through all these feelings in all these years. So here we can find solutions through each other's view in this interactive session, how we can help them to develop a confidence, to grow up and take responsibility and support their families. So the session is open for interaction and question and answers also, and you can share your views also you can ask Mona about it. And I also will request Nirmala ma'am to give some inputs regarding this. I'm sure she has a lot of things to share in this. Yeah.
Thank you, Ritu. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. As usual, Mona, outstanding.
Thank you, Nirmala ji.
I know that. And it is not only outstanding, but it was the packaging with feelings, sentiments. You are not there just as a psychotherapist from John Hopkins.
I try
You were,
not to be,
you
Nirmala
were
ji.
one among us that made the difference for us.
Thank you. I try not to be psychotherapist
Yes.
when I'm talking about
And as you rightly said, even I'm finding in our groups, the membership has shifted from parents to siblings.
Yeah.
More than parents.
Yeah.
But of course, the parents are also members, but they will say, add my son or daughter, or my daughter-in-law or son-in-law, or grandson. They are also around. They will also benefit. This was not happening, as you rightly said.
Yeah.
And support groups attendance by siblings was not happening. So this is very good. At the same time, the most critical thing is, can you give, yes, the social landscape in India itself is saying India is becoming a youthful country. Yeah. So the siblings cannot escape taking responsibilities. Not that they want to escape, as you rightly brought out, they are in a dilemma.
Yeah.
They are in a moral dilemma. They are in a psychological dilemma. They are in financial dilemma because they have to earn to support.
Yeah.
And they also need their own personal needs to be done. Like you said,
Yeah.
many of them have remained spinsters or bachelors.
Yeah.
Whole life being sacrificed because they. So all this is happening. And therefore, I think yours will be probably the first of its kind lecture in India touching upon siblings. Maybe you all have research findings and research papers, but that doesn't touch our lives. Our daily lives are what we live through. And from that perspective, can you add a little bit of psychotherapeutic, I wouldn't call it advice or what, but how would you like parents? Mostly it is the parents
Yeah.
who face the brunt of it.
I was
They
expecting this
cry
question
and
to
cry.
come. Yeah. That's a great question, Vimalaji. I was expecting, hoping this question comes, and I was sure it would come. I think
Yes.
it's very
What would
important.
you say, do's and don'ts?
Yeah. So I again, okay. Let me answer that as a psychotherapist, as I would talk with family, tell a family. It is hard for the parent, I know, especially when you see mental health condition developing in your child. It does take all your attention, your resources, your mental space. It's also important that time to remember that you need to deal with this issue, with this problem, with this situation as a family. What you do is that you are dealing as parents. What if you could also involve other family members? Because your children, other children are there, they are observing. Whether you involve them or not, they are anyways involved. So try to involve them in an age appropriate way. So if it's a younger sibling, older sibling, depending on what age group they are, try to involve. For example, in my experience, I'm taking an example of a very of my very close family member, where the younger sibling is developing, showing signs of mental health condition, and the older sibling, she's a teenager. Now, what? So the first response of the family was to move away, to leave the city, because they thought that the city they lived in, everybody would get to know there's a mental health condition, there'll be stigma. First response was, let's leave the city. And that's when we came in, and my team came in, and they said, did you think about the other child? What impact it will have on her? And yes, it's important that you're thinking about, the overall impact on family, but do involve the other child in the conversation. Talk to her how she is feeling. Even if you have to take a decision of moving away, there were some logistic problems, but do involve her. And the child, the older child, who was feeling very upset with this move, she of course took time, but since she was involved, she was told why this move had to happen. So we saw over the 3 years, it's been 3 years, we see her more involved in the care now. Because that child, the older child, when she was not involved, first 6 months were extremely hard for her during the move. She herself started showing, the signs of severe distress. But once she was involved, the move was still hard, but she had a space to talk about it. That we have to move, there was a space to talk about it. Second, we tell the family to not ignore the needs of the other children. To focus, even if you can't give the equal focus, still try to focus on their needs also. Involve them if possible in whatever ways, like I said, age appropriate ways. If they are children, tell them. If their older sibling, if there's a behavior which upsets them or disturbs them, listen to them, empathize with them that it is hard. Try to explain to them why the older sibling or the other sibling is doing it while empathizing. Don't shut them. Don't tell them. Sometimes parents will be empathetic towards it. He's suffering or she's suffering. You should be the good person. If you're doing it, you're bad. Don't label the child. They are also children. They have their needs. They have their own reactions, their responses. They are not as mature as you are. So they are also ill-equipped, especially when they are young. They are not fully equipped, to deal with it. Second, if you want the other children also to be involved in some care, or to have a not care, don't involve them in care, but to be friendly, to be there to support the sibling with mental health condition, then it's important that you show empathy, be empathetic with them, be empathetic with their needs, understand when they're stressed. It's okay if someday they're angry. Recognize these are very normal feelings. Slowly, as they grow up, there is also this fear. A lot of times, young siblings, I'm talking about adolescents, or once they start, everybody is reading online. They come to me with a question very commonly: will I also have this condition when I grow old? Or will my child have this condition if I get old? So, these questions, they generally are not asking parents, they're asking the therapist or the psychiatrist. Whenever they get a chance, this is the first question they're asking. Be there to answer such questions. Never ever tell the other child, that you're being selfish. I think that's something I tell the parents. Even if the other child, I have had siblings where they told their parents, send us to a hostel, I don't want to live in this house. Talk to them, and if they really want to move away, don't label them as selfish. Understand, try to understand, look at things that perhaps it is being hard. And always, second, moving away is not a selfish move. Like I was talking about this girl, she went abroad to do her masters, and then she decided to settle there. The thought was constantly, am I being selfish? But sometimes I've seen siblings are better able to or sometimes there's another thought, when parents, especially when parents are not there, you know otherwise this thought that I'm a selfish would always be there. So if they want to move away, they want to have their own life, let them have their own life. Actually focus, let them have their own life. That will help them to deal with their own thoughts, like I said, contradictory thoughts in their mind. That if you want your own life, if you want to have friends, if you want to go out for a party, it's okay, you're not being selfish. That will help them to deal with these feelings later in life when parents are not there. For example, when parents are not there, siblings suppose decide at some point that I have to, that this sibling with mental health condition need to stay in a long-term home or in a hospital or so that they are able to take this decision more wisely. So at least one thing, if I have to give one message, that don't give this sense of you're selfish if you're taking care of yourself. That will just increase that will just increase negative feelings, and of course very difficult feelings that will impact their well-being. So ensure their well-being. And I have seen families which have done that. Siblings have had where they have involved siblings in an age appropriate way, you know so the relationship with siblings have been a more empathetic one.
Thank you. Thank you, Mona. Ritu, you may now ask others.
Yeah, let I open this session for others to also ask their question. You can raise your hand, and you can, as I say the name, you can just start by unmuting yourself, or we can read through the chat box also. So there is one question in the chat box, one person, that's Arushi Gaur. As a family member, you often feel very exhausted being a caregiver to someone suffering from mental health issues. How do you contain yourself and feel better yourself, as you might feel guilty in even enjoying your own life, thinking your sister or mother is in the problem? Yeah.
Yes, and that guilt is, especially it is very common, at least as a parent, as a
Mm.
sibling, there is this guilt coming from. Try to ask yourself, what is this guilt? What am I feeling guilty about? About what is the reason I'm feeling guilty? Is it because I'm trying to build my own life? Because I'm trying to enjoy my life? What is so bad about it? What is wrong with wanting to enjoy my life? If I were not enjoying my life, how would it make me feel? Now, I have seen when parents, or especially siblings, that they are not able to do, like I said, age appropriate or context appropriate, or are not engaging in recreational or hobbies or activities that they like doing, not having their own life, they feel bitterness, because at some point in future they might hold that sibling with mental health condition responsible for them not having their own life. Okay? while they are not stopping you. It's just sometimes your own guilt which is stopping you or holding you back. Not stopping you, but holding you back. Because after, even suppose you are going out, you go for a trip and you let somebody be with your sibling. But when you come back, you feel very guilty. So you did not enjoy that trip. So before you take care of, while you're taking care of your sibling or your child, it's important that you take care of yourself also. When you're in a, when you have taken care of yourself, you are better able to take care of the person who needs your care. Like, there's this person who gave me a very good example actually. So he is somebody whose partner has mental health condition. So he told me that, so everybody understands Hindi here. Is there
Yeah,
anybody who does? Everybody understands Hindi because he said it in Hindi. So I want to just say what
yeah.
he said.
You can
Somebody can
I
somebody can
think you can
translate.
Okay, okay. So
Go
let
ahead.
me say.
most
I
of us
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
Okay. So he said कि आपको अगर किसी और की जिंदगी के गड्ढे भरने हैं तो आप अपनी जिंदगी में गड्ढे करके भरोगे तो आप फिर उन गैप्स को फील करोगे. तो उसकी जो लाइफ के गड्ढे, आपको ये नहीं सोचना कि उसको आप अपनी लाइफ के में गड्ढे करके भरोगे तो फिर तुम डिस्ट्रेस हो जाओगे. बट help that person, so what he was trying to say is that if you have to make your sibling, and so what was happening was that his partner who has mental health condition, she would resent. So this guy, he likes poetry and he likes documentaries, watching plays. So he goes, the partner is not able to, she's not able to, she finds it very hard to be in a social situation. So he stopped doing it, but he got very upset, and their relationship started affecting. He has been very supportive, and that's when he realized that he was creating gaps in his own life because he was worried that his wife would not like if he was doing taking care of himself. And second, he would say that I feel like I'm being selfish if I'm enjoying, while she is not even able to come out of the house. So he stopped doing anything which made him happy. There were very few things, only two, three things which made him happy, which he could not do with his partner. Rest of everything he was doing, they were doing together. So he came and he said that, I can't do that. I can't stop myself from doing things which I like just to keep her, just to tell myself I'm not selfish. So he had to challenge the thought, I'm being selfish. So he told himself, I'm not going to create gaps in my life because in the future, otherwise our relationship will be impacted. Sometimes I will hold her responsible for my own bitterness, the fact that I'm not enjoying my life. So let me do things that I like. It's okay. Okay. So that I thought was very, I keep using what he said. That you have to help the other person, you have to be with the other person, but also important that you are with yourself.
Shall we go to the next question?
Yeah.
That was well answered. Yeah, Sridhar Chandrasekhar. Mr. Sridhar Chandrasekhar is asking how to overcome fatigue. Continuously being a caretaker has become boring since the development is very slow and communication impaired. So fatigue has taken place.
Yeah, and fatigue would take place to over, yes, it is tiring because the nature of this illness, psychiatric illness, any chronic condition like schizophrenia, bipolar is such that it is there. With best treatment, best medication, there's a possible that the person relaxes, that the symptoms don't go away. The condition does not, you give your best, you're doing your best, the condition is not improving. That's the nature of the condition. So telling yourself that I am doing what is best. But if there is no change that I see around me, the development is slow, yes. There are times when there is no development, that is because of the condition. Ask yourself, what is it that a lot of times when I ask family members, what do you like doing? Some of them are so tired, they're like, we don't know what we like doing. So, what did you like doing before the condition developed in the family member? What is it that makes you happy? What is that gives you pleasure? Ask yourself. Engage in these activities. That is where the role of support groups such as these come. So when you people meet, and I tell there are some support groups that I run with people, with young people, that when you meet, so there are two or three of so we run a support group for young people with mental health conditions, and there are some of the members are there in this group today. So you always tell them, okay, you talk about problems, but some groups also do things which interest you, which are your hobbies, which give you pleasure. So in such groups that you have formed, meet each other and do something that gives you pleasure. Not every group has to. You have to talk only about you straight jacket yourself in that role. Am I only a family member of a person with living with mental health condition? Can I have another role? If you live only one role when you're at home, it is tiring. It leads to fatigue. Find ways to live other parts of your life, other aspects of your personality. There's much more to you than just being a sibling or just being a parent of a person with mental health condition. That's your reality, but there are other realities also, right? Try to focus on them, and by focusing on them you are not being selfish.
Okay,
I
shall
just
we go to the next one?
Yeah.
So another question again from Arushi Gaur. Any healthy or impactful bonding exercises that one could do to better the relationship with an adulting sibling who is becoming more and more alienated and very irritable and aggressive, mostly up to making repeated requests to play or do some activity, they usually get even more annoyed. So should we give them some space initially or act with a lot of love throughout or repeat efforts to build a bond? So any techniques for such
This is
bonding?
very interesting
Very,
question.
very,
Yeah,
very
very interesting
interesting
question.
question. Very
Yeah,
interesting.
very interesting. I think this is something that again, uh, I was just talking to another family about it, which I was just giving example for.
Mm.
Look for a window. I understand, especially when your sibling is young, is still the illness is developing. You still don't know. Even the person themselves don't know what they like, what their dislikes are, what they don't. Because the condition is developing. Especially this is more tricky when the condition is developing. You still don't have a proper understanding. Uh, so look for a window. That window you may not find all the time, but be on a lookout for window when you think you can connect with your sibling. That window may be very brief. It may not come up frequently. So the example of the family I was giving, where the younger sibling is developing, showing signs of mental health condition. The older sibling told me that she could never connect. She said that I just did not even know he's my. I mean, he does not even recognize I'm the sibling. She found a window. She said that she realized the younger siblings. He gets very excited when he sees cows. He loved animals. She realized he loves animals. So that's when she recognized, after months of being with him, while the condition was developing, that they could bond over animals. When they were with animals, she said that I felt a bond with him which I had never felt, because he was so happy when he was animals. When he was playing with animals, he was also playing with me. We could play together. So look out for that window. Probably your sibling does not like games. So you don't have to involve them in games. Sometimes what you can do is that rather than telling him let's play a game, start playing, say, with another family member. Let them be around. Let them want to join you. Sometimes they may not want to join you. They may just sit a little far and observe you. You know? So how you define engagement or participation has to change. Perhaps your sibling is happy just to observe you, just to see that my family members are playing a game. If you are watching a movie, your sibling may not want to come and sit with everyone to watch. It's okay. Have a normal household activities around them. That is important. Keep doing them. Don't stop being a normal, doing normal activities which you used to do. Don't stop just because your sibling is not doing. There's another problem that a lot of families do. That that the person who has mental health, he does not like it, will not do it. Don't do that. Try to keep your family environment as normal as possible. Okay? Uh, Play games. Even if that sibling is not involved, it's okay. You people play a game. with other people, play a game, or do something you like, music, listen to music. Whatever you like doing, do it. Sometimes the sibling may join. Probably over the time they will join. Or like I said, keep looking for a window. There is something they still like. Perhaps there is something they love to eat. There is a certain food they like to eat. So just order it and eat together. Perhaps you may not be able to eat together and talk about it, but share those moments. So look out for windows. It may not come immediately, but whenever it comes, utilize it. But it is hard. Like I said, it's a missing. Because as a sibling, you want a bond with your sibling, and when that bond is not there all the time, when it comes just for a few moments, it is hard, and it is also loss. Having a sibling, like this girl was telling me that I have a sibling, but I don't think I have a sibling because my sibling does not see me like a sibling. you know. So yes, it is hard.
And one more, sorry, Ritu, can I make a
Yeah,
observation?
sure, ma'am.
And
Please.
one more, it's rather a clarification. One more thing, Mona.
Yeah,
Can I get? Yeah. And it's also not, probably, it's not good for parents to orchestrate this bonding.
yeah, yeah,
Pretty well. Because both the person under treatment as well as the other siblings realize this artificial orchestration happening around them. And they don't, poor parents, I don't know what to say. We
yeah,
are desperate to see the
Very
siblings
typical.
bond.
yeah,
We
Yeah.
have
yeah,
seen them playing together, Mona.
yeah. Okay.
We are desperate. But the siblings have grown up. And this is another problem. Even otherwise, even without mental illness, when they become teenagers, they develop their own personalities.
Yeah.
They fight. They fight a lot. They don't want to talk for a couple of days and all. They get back together and all that. That situation, it's a very normal situation. But in the houses where there is mental illness, parents go out of their way to talk in whispers. Oh, they are just sitting together. First, I will go with all the bit, then you come. Let's not both enter the room together. All sorts of comic things we do.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think about it. It's not
Yeah,
really good. It doesn't help, but
yeah,
it's fact. We do that.
yes,
Shall
yes,
we go
they
to the
do.
next
Yes,
one?
yes.
Mona?
I
Shall we
think
go to the...
Mona wants to respond to this.
Yeah,
No, no,
please.
yes, I have seen that, Nirmalaji. I think that the role then depend on that is where the parents also need to understand.
Not orchestrate.
Yeah, yeah, not to do that. Yes, yes, and
Yes,
that is why the involving or other family members is so important.
right.
And
Thank
having
you.
a normal, stop being who they were. I think they also want things to be normal, even if they are not able to
Yes,
participate.
yes, that makes them. Yes, you're right.
Yeah,
Anyway,
but let them be around. Let normal things, positive, whatever activities happen. You don't have to involve to only don't build a life only around one member. Let the life be there. Let
yes.
Yeah,
Ritu, please.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. We are running out of time, so
yeah,
very fast we'll take up.
yeah.
How do we prevent, Sangeeta ji is asking, how do we prevent from our relationship with our partner from getting strained? There is a lot of blaming on the other side, and it's extremely feeling guilty about it. Yeah.
Sakita, I would really suggest again when it happens to seek family therapy. That this is where the role of family therapy comes. Or seek help from a mental professional, or if you don't have, if you have, if you're part of any support group, to get one person, any one person who you trust, to talk with the family, because this problem is very can if it needs to be talked about, it needs to be resolved. It doesn't stop on its own. This blame thing, it needs to be stopped. If it doesn't stop on its own, if you think, sometimes, usually, actually most cases, you need intervention. You need somebody from outside to intervene. Sometimes your partner may not, because they themselves are so stressed and upset that they that playing the blame game, blaming the other person, becomes a pattern. And once the pattern sets, if the pattern has set, then you need external intervention. either from a mental health professional, from a psychotherapist, or from somebody who's a part of a group who you both can trust to come in. But you need somebody who's more neutral. Otherwise, just trying to, I've seen couples trying to, or parents trying to, fine tune or reach one common point. It doesn't on their own. But once, like I said, if there is a pattern, if it is that pattern is set, you need help, external help. Try to get somebody who's neutral in to help the partner, see.
So can I take two
Yeah, yeah,
questions together
yeah,
because
yeah,
the time is very
yeah,
less?
yeah,
I'll just read out two questions
yeah,
because
yeah.
they are slightly relative, I feel. One is Parmita is asking if there are any support groups. And Sridhar Chandrasekhar is asking, is it good idea to keep the daughter separated from her mother totally on weekends so that the mother can sleep and rejuvenate? The mother cannot be a trainer because of the motherly love. I don't get it. Maybe
I
he
think
wants
if I
yeah.
understand, if you need to relax, you need to sleep, you need to rejuvenate, please do that.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do it, you are tired, and that would, you would not be able to care as you want to care. So please do whatever helps you to feel rejuvenated. That's all right. That's what I understand.
I think that's all.
Yeah.
And anyone else, if
There is
anybody has any other,
Mamta has raised her hand.
yeah,
If
okay.
Mamta can unmute herself and ask the question.
Yeah, please.
No,
Anna.
I just wanted to share my views because I was a sibling and the PMI was my elder brother. We lived together almost for 58 years. And my experience as a sibling is I recognized his mental illness first because living in a small house in a earlier bigger families, more than parents, the siblings will be close. So it was me who recognized, and then and those days the doctors used to expect all the family members to involve. So the doctor in my introduced schizophrenia. What is schizophrenia? Starting from the spelling I learned, and we live together. This one is for all the younger siblings here is you need not do so much of sacrifice.
Yeah.
You accept it, and you accept it and show to you the world that he is part of you. I did this during my wedding. So I used to say this, I'm having a brother and I'll be taking care of him. So this is the condition for anybody to get married. So I felt that it was a very good filter. The criteria was very ideal. So I don't think it's not fair to sacrifice whole life to be a sibling of a PMI. And then compartmentalization, like if the 4 Saturdays are there, you can sacrifice, you can have one Saturday for your PMI. And I think this kind of support helps in having a good recovery for the PMI because my brother had only 2 relapses. And the relapses were there, but it was not so disturbing. So I feel caregiving as a caregiver, as a sibling, gave me a very meaningful life. So this is my advice. Siblings need not do too much of sacrifice. You accept it and share that with the whole world. That's it. The strength will come from there. Thank you.
Okay. So I think we are moving towards the end of the session. So
Ritu Arushi has raised her hand again.
okay. Let's take one more this thing then.
One last question.
Last,
Arushi, please,
last
yeah.
question.
yeah,
Unmute.
Thank you so
Arushi,
much.
you can just unmute yourself and ask.
Great. So am I audible now?
Like Arushi, you are.
Perfect. So
Arushi
I don't
wants to
have a
say something.
yes,
So
yes. I
let her
don't have a
speak. Then I invite Sindhuja for Thanksgiving and the pledge, of course. Yeah.
perfect. So I don't have a question per se, but I'd just like to say it was a great session. Um, Also, I feel it's very important, as everyone else also stressed, to be very happy and fulfilled in your own self as a caregiver in order to help somebody else overcome their own mental health issues. So I think that's also very important, that we should all be very optimistic and probably look at doing something healthy in our own lifestyles, maybe meditating, maintaining a healthy diet, maybe going to the park, walking. So it's important to be grounded and be balanced yourself, be emotionally regulated yourself in order to help your own family member come out of their problem. And I think it was a great session. I loved listening into what everybody else had to say, and definitely helped me learn a lot from the session today. So great to be attended.
Thanks, Arushi. You can become a member of FACEMI wherever you are. It's not necessary for you to be a member to get in touch with any one of us anytime. We are all there.
Yeah. Okay, over to you, Sindhuja. Inviting you. Yeah.
Hi, Ritu. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to extend my thanks to Mona ji, not just for this beautiful session, but also to talk from in such a way that we could relate to everything that she was saying. I'm also a sibling of a person who's having a mental health issue, and many of the things that you said struck true with me in different degrees, like the feeling of guilt or the feeling of not being there for them, or the feeling of being abandoned. Not really so much in my case, but yes, a little bit sometimes or the other. Not all the time, not in degrees that other people might have felt in their own family situations. But yes, everything rang true to me also. And also the fact that when you talked about when others, I kept myself last because anyway I was going to come to say the vote of thanks. I thought I will do my sharing at the end. The fact that many of us have been also blessed with, from my experience, and also seeing a couple of other people in our families and friends group, where the spouses of the siblings have also been very supportive.
Yeah.
That gave a lot of strength to me in my life, to be able to be supportive of my parents and my brother in their journey. I was also able to be part of that journey, plus have a life of my own, which made it much more easier for me. A person who's supportive to you in your life is also very, I think that also comes as a blessing. So I mean, these are things that we don't really see sometimes. We only see the problem and the difficult situation that we've been placed in sometimes, or that we find ourselves in. So the small rays of light, of hope that we have in our lives, I think we should also learn to enhance that and look at those things, which will make it much more easier for us to go through the day-to-day challenges in many ways, and also to enjoy our own lives, as rightly put, but many of the people who shared, and also by you. So thank you for highlighting this topic so well, for taking us through this session so beautifully. I think you also encouraged the other people to share and answer them very aptly, in very simple words, using no technical jargon. I think that made it much more fruitful.
Yeah, easy.
Because sometimes we are so used to listening to jargon anywhere we go. I think in a session like this, where we are talking about the family and ourselves, you not using jargons was a big plus from my side, personally. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we enjoyed the session. I think it was a very, very beautiful and fruitful session, as other people have also expressed. So thank you very much, Mona, for coming and talking to us today.
Thank you, Sindhuja, for lovely
Thank you.
words. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we can have the pledge now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would request everyone to mute themselves and read it along with me, so that we can have a easier session. Otherwise, sometimes people, there's a lot of gap because of our internet issues sometimes. So I will be reading it, and you also read it along in your own. Don't unmute yourself. Just in muted condition. Please kindly read it along with me. The FACEMI pledge. We, the members of Families Alliance on Mental Illness, FACEMI, pledge to support one another and other families in similar situations and use language which conveys love and respect towards each other and especially towards PMI. We shall strive to protect and promote the rights of PMI as enshrined in the laws of the land. On this day, we take this pledge to work towards the vision and mission of FACEMI. Thank you. Over to you, Ritu.
Thank you, Mona ji. Thank you, Nirmala ma'am. Thank you, Saraswati, Sindhuja, and all participants, all audience who are here, who gave their precious time for this. It was a wonderful session, and we hope to have many such sessions more in future. And we'll surely share the link of the YouTube channel where we are going to share this recording, and we'll let you know. Yeah, thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ritu.